Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it is where you're at. Welcome to Collider Dailies. I'm John Algitz, and I'm joined by
Maggie.
Maggie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Was listening to some lovely Irish music this morning. Really got me in a good mood. So
you're just embracing the entire month of March.
Well, yeah. I mean, when your birthday is St. Patrick's Day, you get to embrace the entirety of the holiday season, the shamrocks, the music, the green.
Your birthday is actually just flat out St. Patrick's Day?
Has been forever. Yes, March 17th. So that holiday is specifically for myself and Hosier, whose birthday is also St. Patrick's Day.
Fair enough. My birthday was...
And also John Boyega. So I'm in good company.
My birthday was yesterday. So
well, happy belated birthday, John.
I am officially in my mid-30s.
And how does that feel?
Exactly the same as the early 30s.
Is that why you got a new haircut this week? Was it a birthday haircut?
No, it was just I desperately need a haircut.
Okay, well, I was trying to find some semblance there.
Anyways, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got X-Men 97 got their episode titles. Twilight is going to become an animated series, and we're going to take a look at the Fallout trailer. But before we get into all that, I feel like we would be remiss to not talk about something that happened yesterday. I didn't want to include this as a topic for today, like an actual full topic, because it's less like TV and movie news and more just it's news about sort of like our industry,
gaming in our industry. Yeah,
gaming. It's a content creation bit of news, and that is the shuttering of Rooster Teeth that was announced yesterday. Warner Brothers Discovery has decided that they were going to shut down Rooster Teeth, putting about 150-ish people out of work.
Yeah,
and
including people that you and I both know.
Yes, including people that we know personally. It is... To say that I am not surprised would be an understatement. Honestly, this is one of those things that since these last few years, Rooster Teeth hasn't exactly been in the greatest situation.
Yeah.
Which is true of most digital content, I feel like, today. But it is still a shame. Rooster Teeth, I do what I do today in large part, I would say, because of Rooster Teeth. I remember watching Red versus Blue when I was in middle school, which kind of tells you how long Red versus Blue was around. And I got the opportunity to work with a bunch of people there, meet a bunch of people there, spend some time, get to be friends with them. And so it is an exceptional group of very talented individuals who I have faith are going to land on their feet after all of this.
Yeah, I agree.
It is a major bummer that bummed me out quite heavily yesterday. I was pretty sad after all that, but them's the
breaks.
Them's the breaks.
Yeah, it's really sad to see a content creation, that we grew up with, essentially. I mean, I would feel like Rooster Teeth and like College Humor and Dropout and all of that were very much like the things that I looked forward to there, and BuzzFeed's content creation of the video persuasion for so long in college. Like, I always knew when like new episodes of my favorite, creators would drop and, stop me to watch them. So it's sad to see those changing up.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I remember very vividly watching, Let's Play and listening to the Rooster Teeth podcast and watching Red versus Blue. Of course, I even watched like some of the stuff that didn't get super big, like their Sims Machinima Strangerhood. They did a very short mini series using Fear. I forget what that was called, but I remember it being maybe the most hilarious things that I had ever seen on the internet, and still funny to this day. So like, just it is sad. It is a bummer, and I hope that everyone affected is able to very quickly get back into the swing of things and very able to find something, some work somewhere. I have faith that they will. Anyways, with that being said, let's move into our first topic for today, which is all about the Fallout trailer, the first full Fallout trailer.
And I have to say, before we really get into this, I just have to comment on this beautiful topic heading over here that you came up with as somebody who makes fun of me for my puns. Pot meet kettle.
The only place that I find puns acceptable is in topic title graphics.
So puns for thee, but not for me. I see
Yes.
how it is.
It is acceptable for me to do it. It's when you do it that it's a problem. Because when I do it, it's funny. When you do it, it's cringy. You see the difference?
Ow. I'm gonna take back that happy birthday from earlier.
Oh, that's okay because you said it a day late.
Well, that's because I was waiting to see you.
Because you didn't know.
For some reason, I thought it was the 8th.
Anyways, yes,
when
we got the first.
As many Pisces, you forget sometimes.
As someone who does not care about astrology, that pained me just a little bit. Anyways, yes, the first full trailer for the Fallout series did drop, and I gotta say, this looks. As someone who is a heavy fan of the games, this looks incredible.
It does look
they've nailed the tone. The production is like whoever is doing the production design deserves an award. If not that, I want to take them out for a beer because they have absolutely spot on nailed the feel of the world of Fallout. Everything looks like, at the very least, the Bethesda Fallout.
Yeah.
And it just is incredible seeing Brotherhood of Steel power armor suits walking around and having it not be like super CGI heavy. There's obviously CGI in there, but it feels very real, very lived in, and I loved it. Maggie, you are not a fan of the games.
I've never played them. Like, I'm not a fan of the games.
You just haven't played them.
Yeah, I just haven't played
them. As someone who hasn't played the games, what did you think of this trailer?
I think it looks really cool. I want to know more about this world. I played Fallout, the version on your phone. Like
the Vault.
The Vault 66.
Builder.
Yeah, the Vault Builder. So like I'm vaguely familiar with like the concepts of Fallout. And I know obviously like existing in this space, I've seen lots of stuff from the video game. So it looks really cool. I think the character designs look really neat. I think this is another win for Prime Video. They've been on a really good run here. I'm a big fan of Rings of Power. I know other people aren't, but I think that they're really investing in these really big, expansive, beautiful like sets on all of these series, and I think that's what's taking all of it to like the next level. So I'm invested. I'm curious. I'll definitely be watching it when those screeners come in.
I know that you have thoughts on one specific character.
Yeah,
get it out.
Trust me to always go for the monstrous looking character, but also I do love Walton Goggins, so like his ghoul looks cool, and I'm not the only person that was like, hey. On Twitter. In fact, the publicist that's working on this was like retweeting some of the thirst tweets for the ghoul. So like,
leave it to you to get thirsty over a nuclear created zombie man. You know that if you touched him, his flesh would probably just like slide off.
Okay. And
all right. You're into some weird stuff.
I am undeterred. It's the vibe. Okay. You cast Walton in something and you're gonna get people who thirst after him. That's just his vibe.
Fair enough. I mean, you can be into whatever you're into. Mike Joyce says, I wonder if the Enclave will show up. That would be, I honestly would be very much surprised. Not necessarily because like I feel like it wouldn't fit into a story or anything like that, because I don't really even know what the story of this show is going to be. It's the fact that we have not actually seen the Enclave since Fallout 3, because were they in New Vegas? I don't know. And I haven't played 76, so if they're in 76, I wouldn't know. But the point is that the Enclave is something that Bethesda hasn't really ran with too much. It's not so much a modern Fallout thing. even though it was in Fallout 3, that was very much a leftover from the Interplay days. So if the Enclave showed up, I would be hyped, because Enclave versus Brotherhood of Steel, that's a classic pairing in my mind. But I don't feel like that is a modern Fallout thing to do. I feel like modern Fallout is a little bit more focused on making the Brotherhood of Steel be their evil group, as opposed to the Enclave, who are in the games, they are like always presented as objectively the worst possible people. So I feel like, if anything, we're going to be playing into the Brotherhood of Steel are the sort of fascist bad guys, and the Enclave will stay as a more obscure part of Fallout lore. As weird as that is for me to say, because the Enclave used to be such a big deal in the series before Bethesda took over. This is Maggie's just sitting there, just nodding her head.
Yeah, I'm being a good student. I'm like, okay, Professor John.
Sure.
Teach me about the Enclave.
Arrow Maxwell says, haven't played the games for Fallout, always was interested in them, and this series looks like it's gonna make me want to get into the games. Honestly, like, if nothing else, I feel like this series is going to be a good jumping on point for people to then dive into the games. Like, even if the series isn't like super, like, even if it isn't super great, it's still going to inspire people to pick up the games. And if you are going to pick up the Fallout games, I will be the first to tell you Fallout New Vegas is the best of the modern Fallouts. Modern New Vegas came out in like 2011 or something like that. But either way, I would say jump in with Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 are also good places to jump in. Again, have not played Fallout 76 because that game's launch was a mess, and it being a live service MMO game, not super interested. But yeah, I would say that's a good place to jump in if you're going to do that. Collider Extras said, meanwhile, Caesar's Legion have done nothing wrong ever. I know some NCR troops who would argue with that, and also some, denizens of the New Vegas wastes who would argue with you on that one, Adam. Because Caesar's Legion, not super stellar people. Honestly, I don't think there's a single group in Fallout who are like good people. Just nobody. Everybody sucks. But that's it. Let's move on to our next topic. This is the one that I know that, Maggie, you are excited about. And I know that you're excited about it because you specifically asked me to include this one. And I know that when you reach out to me, without me reaching out to you, you reach out to me and are like, let's do this topic. That is one that I'm sure that you are going to have quite a bit to say. So we've known for about a year that we were going to get a Twilight television series, that it was going to be sort of a reboot, readaptation of the books. We just learned that apparently it's going to be animated. Mike K did say, I'm not even the biggest Twilight fan, but I see so much potential in this animated series. Between this and John Wick, it's cool to see Lionsgate leaning into the medium of animation. I will say here, with Twilight, this is an interesting choice, because I would not, looking at what I know of Twilight, I would not think to myself animation.
Maggie. I think it's genius, because obviously we don't know now if they're going to do like complete reimagination of the characters in totality, or if they're going to lean on what we're familiar with already. I think it's a really smart way not to alienate fans entirely with being like, hey, I know this thing that mattered to you 15, 20 years ago and still matters to you. We're just going to erase all of it and have a whole new cast. As we've seen, as we've discussed before, that doesn't always create the best feeling with, the original cast, with the new cast, with the fans, with the new fans, the old fans. There's always weird blood. And I think this is a great way to completely bypass that like uncomfortable casting period and like getting familiar with like a new cast and going straight back into hitting at nostalgia where it works with adaptations like this. So I'm really excited. I love Twilight. I'm not ashamed to say I love Twilight. I've always loved Twilight. Is
it back to being cool to like Twilight? Because it was like when it first came out, everybody loved Twilight. Okay. Correction. There was a population of people who really loved Twilight. I wasn't among them. And then it suddenly became cool to hate Twilight for like
Yes.
several years. Has the pendulum swung back?
No, because every single day I log on to twitter.com, I will never call it the other name, and I see somebody making fun of women for liking Twilight. The hate against Twilight has always been misogynistic, and that's why I like mostly am just like roll my eyes at it, because it's just like, oh no, all of these like young women and girls are enjoying something. Let's find a way to like absolutely tear it apart. And it came out at an unfortunate period in time where YouTube was really taking off, and like opinion generation was becoming a really big thing. And it was kind of just a series of bad timing on that front. So I mostly ignore it. All the haters. I like Twilight. I read them all. I saw
See,
them all. I saw them the night they opened.
I never liked Twilight, but it didn't have anything to do with it like being a girly property or any of the misogynistic reasons. I just didn't think it was very well made.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, they're valid ones, but the loud ones are like, oh, this is doing something terrible to the young minds of women. And I'm like, oh yes, because fiction is so terrible. I'm really excited about this. I think there's a lot of promise in it. I'm a big fan of animation. I think it's one of the most creative, mediums that we have today. And I think that animating Twilight will give them a lot of space to do fun things that the movies weren't maybe able to do and able to explore. And maybe we'll have cooler looking wolves this time. And like,
for me, I think that is the thing that I'm not going to say that I'm excited about this, but the thing that
can't let John be uncool.
Well, no, I'm just
you're like, ambivalent. Just say you're ambivalent.
I'm ambivalent to it. It's one of those things where, like, if you're a Twilight fan, I'm excited for you, but I am not myself.
Twi hard.
Yeah, twihards. I forgot that term until just now. The thing that I am interested to see, though, because there's a lot of like, there's a lot of elements to vampires and werewolves and stuff that maybe the special effects in the film weren't able to quite capture in the same way. Like in like the most exciting or how do I say this, good way that maybe animation would allow for some more bombastic werewolf and vampire action.
Oh yeah, I think the Vittori and all of that will look really cool, and I think if they make them sparkle in a specific way that looks cool in animation, there's a lot of things here that like I'm very excited for. The one thing that I'm worried about is the music. Because
that's the thing that you're worried about?
Yes, because the Twilight movies have such an iconic soundtrack. Like, I can't listen to Muse without thinking of Twilight, Supermassive Black Hole. Like, the soundtracks for those movies were such a reaction to the time period at which the films were coming out. And I need them to keep that vibe, because I don't really think Twilight is a property that you can like move up in time to modernize necessarily, because it's very much like a mid-aughts story. And so the music needs to match that. There's just a lot of things in Twilight that like, if you try to adapt them now, like, girl, just pick up your iPhone. There's a lot of technology things that don't necessarily work.
Just give Hayley Williams a call and just get Paramore on the soundtrack and we're good to go.
Oh my God, I love that song.
It's like it's one of those things where I listen to that song and I'm like, this is the only thing that I personally take away from Twilight in a positive manner is that song.
Well, at least there's something.
I enjoy that song. Again, it's not I'm not a Twilight hater. I was very much like, oh, these movies are coming out. Okay, moving on.
Like I said, ambivalent.
I will say though, I did take some pride at the time in the fact that while all of my guy friends were all of their girlfriends were dragging them to the movies, my girlfriends didn't. And I was very, very happy and very, very somewhat proud that never happened to me. young, like late teens, early 20s, John, he's got to find something to be happy about, because that was a very rough time. I think animation might work better for those that weren't into it back then. Mm-hmm. I had that with the newer takes on older IP that didn't work for me in the past, that worked for me in newer versions. That is a good point. It could be something where, the changing medium could attract new fans, could attract, people who weren't necessarily interested in sort of you can admit that those movies were somewhat cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they achieved what they were doing. I do like a new guy's point, because this is directly matching what Era
Like Scott
Maxwell is
Pilgrim.
saying, because I never cared for Scott Pilgrim, but I really like the animated series.
There
I
you go.
never cared for the movie. It was just not something that was in my world of interest. But I was like, oh wow, I really like this animated story. And it's essentially the same thing as the movie. So
Even, I mean, in the Scott Pilgrim case, it was even the exact same cast.
yeah, I mean, exactly. So it works.
It would be kind of funny, as Mike Joyce pointed out. This is 100% just a meme, but I hope Robert Pattinson returns and uses his Boy in the Heron voice.
I love that so much.
I've seen a couple people on Twitter say that exact same thing, and it makes me good for a chuckle.
I think it would be really cool if they could get some of the cast. I think Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are definitely beyond those days, but there's definitely some members of that cast that could do it with the job.
I do know that Taylor Lautner, at the very least, had some words for whoever takes over. In an interview with Sam, right?
Yeah, with Sam.
Yeah.
For the Super Bowl commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think, and that was when we all were under the, assumption that it was going to be a brand new cast. So this at least sounds like they could bring back some of the original cast, depending on what they do, or maybe have them voice other characters within it. So
see, that's what I would want to see. I would want to see
I'm excited.
That's what X-Men 97 is doing, where they're bringing back some of the old cast members, but they're not voicing their old characters.
Exactly. But I'm also just really excited to be really aggressively loud about being Team Jacob again, because the Team Edward, Team Jacob thing defined pop culture in such a wild way. We still feel the ramifications from that discourse to this day. So to then get to relive that discourse, I can't wait. It's like a fangirl's dream.
I was very much Team Bella, because I didn't think that either of them were a good choice for her. I think that she just needed to she was so young, she needed to be on her own and spend some time figuring herself out.
And then when she tried to do that, that didn't go well for her either.
Well, that's because she was still so wrapped up in those two's bullcrap.
I can't wait for the discourse.
Anna Kendrick jump scares me every time I watch Twilight. I never remember she's in it. Hilariously enough, wasn't there an interview where she forgot for a moment that she was in it?
Yes. Oh my god. I love
that. Arrow says, my sister was a big Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I only like Salem. I thought the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was there for I was there for all of it.
Yeah, I love Chilling Adventures because it was the comics, and then they brought in some vibes from the original Sabrina too. So it was a neat way to pay homage to what we grew up with while also playing with the Riverdale spinoff of it all.
Would it be interesting if the Twilight animated series went grimdark? Because that's kind of what the Chilling Adventures did.
No, it doesn't fit the vibe. It doesn't fit the vibe.
I could see them make it work.
No. I'm just excited to see what Renesmee looks like.
Anyway, speaking of animated series, we're going real long in the tooth here. Let's move into our third topic today.
Like a thing, one might say.
Oh my god. The episode titles for X-Men 97 were revealed, giving us a bit of a look into what we might expect from the season. The episode titles are as follows. To Me, My X-Men, Mutant Liberation Begins, Fire Made Flesh, Motendo / Life Death Part 1, excuse me, Remember It, Life Death Part 2, weird that they're separating those, Bright Eyes, Tolerance is Extinction Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. So we are having a 3-part season finale. That is exciting.
Yes, I'm here for that.
And it very much sounds like, because here's the thing, the way that the trailer presented it seemed like we were going to be doing something that the comics did. I believe it was the late 90s, maybe it was the early 2000s, where Magneto almost basically became a member of the team for quite a while. And then ultimately he revealed himself as the big bad, which is based on the title of that 3-part finale, Tolerance is Extinction. That is very much a Magneto sentiment. So I'm very much guessing that is kind of the arc that we're going to be following. Maggie, looking at those titles, do any of them stand out to you as something that you want to watch specifically?
Just the entire show. I need these screeners like right now.
Well, you don't have to wait that long because the first episodes drop March 20th. So we're only like, a couple weeks away from that. And unlike Fallout, which is dropping all of the episodes at once, this show is going to be doing a weekly release. March 20th, March 27th, April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th, April 24th, May 1st, May 8th, May 15th. So mark down your calendars because we're going to be watching X-Men 97. Maybe we'll do a week by week breakdown of the show. I don't know.
Yeah,
is that
I'm
something
down for that?
Something that you might be
interested in? I love the X-Men. That was like one of my shows as a kid. Was the original X-Men animated series. No surprise, I love Magneto, but I was also very much a Gambit girly and Rogue. I'm
These
very excited.
Track.
I know, like the thing about me is that I am extremely consistent. So there's really never any question of that. But I'm really excited to see what they do with the show. It seems so truly in the spirit of the show that we grew up with. And I like that it's not connected to the MCU, that it very much is this thing that's allowed to stand on its own and continue this. So I'm very excited for this.
See, when I was a little kid, I really wanted to be Cyclops. So these things track.
I could see that. I wanted to be Rogue. That's who I wanted to be. And now that I have gray hair starting at my temples, I'm like, hey, I'm getting there. A few more traumatic experiences.
I don't believe you for a second that you've got gray hair already.
Give me a few more traumatic experiences and I'll finally have the final Rogue evolution.
They'll give you like a week at the rate that this world is going.
Yeah. Next week on Collider Dailies, I'll just be fully gray.
Just full silver. You know what? Embrace the gray. Don't dye it. Just let it go.
I thought you were just going to go die, and I was like, well, that is the plan.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't do that. Arrow Maxwell says, I have a few episodes left of the final season of the original series. I rewatched them at the start of 2020 and had to again before X-Men 97. And yes, please do weekly coverage. Yeah, I'm down for that. I think even if it's just like at the start of the episode, we just very quickly be like, hey, this week, this happened in the episode. What'd you think? All right, cool. Moving on into our topics. I think that's down.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Do that. I don't think that we should do like an entire like weekly podcast about it, but
no, but I think we should definitely talk about it.
Yeah, we will for sure when it's actually airing, starting in a couple of weeks. And with that is where we're going to end today's episode. Yeah, not too much earth-shattering stuff, but certainly enough fun conversation. Maggie is predisposed with something else going on.
I am sorry. When publicists start texting you, you do have to respond.
This is true. Maggie, do you have anything exciting coming down the pipeline that you want to plug?
I do. So it actually works out perfectly. My birthday weekend. So either on the 16th or the 17th, I'll be dropping my interview with Ben Browder for Farscape because the 20th anniversary will be that Monday. And then I have an interview coming out next week, also that same weekend, either on the 16th or the 17th with Ed Spaliers to support the release of Irish Wish on Netflix. And also, of course, we talked about Star Trek Picard because it's been a year since that show ended and I still have not let it go. But it's a really great conversation. It was my third time talking with him. We actually got to be on camera this time. So it's a really fun interview. So I'm really excited about that one. But we also have tons of content coming out this weekend. We have the Oscars. So, I am heading up the live updates article for us for the Oscars on Sunday. So be sure to check out Collider for that. We're going to have all sorts of fun graphics and things all over for all of the winners and all of that. So I'm really excited about what we're doing for that. And then, of course, everybody's out at South by Southwest and we have tons of interviews and breakouts and exciting things coming with that. So keep your eyes on collider.com all weekend, all week. And just forever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you should be reading collider.com every single day because we've got some fantastic stuff going up at all hours of the day over there. I got to say, this weekend into early next week are going to be insane. Like the fact that the Oscars and South by Southwest are happening at the same time, like that's just so much on so many people's plates. But I will say I am very excited for Monday's Dailies episode. Going to be breaking down the Oscars, looking at
So
all the
much fun stuff. And
craziness.
it will be you and me, right?
Yeah, because Perry and Steve are out at South by Southwest, so it'll be us.
Can't wait to talk about All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh wait, no.
Do we want to figure out what is the over under on someone getting slapped? This
it's not happening. I've decided it's not happening.
Or how many jokes about someone getting slapped are they going to make?
None.
I don't think it's going to be 0. I think it's going to be more than 0. More than 0. Less
2 years ago. Why have we not let this go?
Because I don't know.
It's old news. It's like truly old news now. We survived last Oscars.
You know how these things work. If people are still talking about it, it still becomes the butt end of jokes. Was that really 2 years ago, Mike?
Yes.
I'm getting old.
In fact, you have a little bit of time until you turn old again. So,
hey, now
you're an all-star.
Get your game on, go play. Anyways, that's it for us. We will see you tomorrow because Maggie and I are going to be back tomorrow to talk about more stuff. So, same bad time, same bad place. Until then, I hope you have a magnificent rest of your evening, and we'll catch you next time.